States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please conduct a roll call?
Flinker.
Here.
Nargi. Here. Snyder. Reynolds.
Here.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
Downing.
Present.
Allersmeyer.
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you. We do have the approval of the October 2nd regular meeting and the October 5th public hearing. I entertain a motion to get them, and seconded.
Second.
All right, any comments or corrections on those minutes? All those in favor of the approval of the minutes as communicated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, ordinance for second reading, ordinance 2023-44.
The 2024 GLPTC budget and ordinance appropriating money for the Greater Lafayette Public Transportation Corporation as required pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-17-20.
Mr. Quaker.
Move we hear ordinance 2023-44 on second reading.
Mrs. Margie?
Second.
Thank you. You're up.
Good evening. So I'd like to talk just briefly about our accomplishments for the year. It's been a year since I stood in front of you, a very green CEO. And the first question that I was posed was Mr. Brown asking when we were going to have 24-hour service. And while not city bus operated 24-hour service, we are launching city van, and it will be available for all shifts. So anybody who works a third shift or a second shift will be able to get to and from work with city van if that's an option for them. And so I'm proud to say it actually didn't take me quite as long as I thought it would.
You're getting there.
And in the interest of that, if I could just show.
Absolutely.
If you go to our main website, which is gocitybus.com.
Yeah, no kidding.
I like how all the IT guys just made a big line out of here.
We'll be back.
Oh, Tom's still sitting over
Oh, he
here.
is? Oh, sorry,
Tom's over
Tom.
there behind the TV.
Sorry, Tom. Sorry, Tom.
No attention to the man behind the TV.
Don't pay attention to that guy.
What's
behind the
happening?
It is loading the, that's proof that it's, it's not connected to, let's go and try.
Here we go.
curtain. Voila.
Go go with gas.
So, right at our homepage, or across the bar on the top, you can see City Van. You can click on City Van. And as you scroll down, real fast, just the general ideas behind what's available. That you share the ride, and we provide a group with a new or near new vehicle. Very similar to renting a vehicle from Enterprise. And then you say, well, I'd like a little more detail. That all sounds good. You can click on the Let's Get Started, and it takes you to the Commute by Enterprise. And we have some important details on this page. And in particular, here's the items. Currently, it's available for commuters who live or work in Tippecanoe County, and eligible van pools will receive up to $600 monthly subsidy per vehicle from City Van. So the cost of the vehicle is anywhere between $13.50 and it can go higher depending on mileage or the vehicle that you get. And I'll come back over to the mic. But we'll pay $600 of it out of federal funds. One of the wonderful things for us is that Enterprise's investment in their fleet counts as the local match. So there are no local dollars going into this. Part of what I had talked about when I asked for the resolution allowing us to go beyond our city borders. And then either employees just get together in a group and they can pay the difference, or the employers can choose to do so. In my experience, employers choose to do so that they have reliable transportation for employees, or to save money themselves. You know, if you're Purdue University and you have to build a parking space for everybody that comes into campus, this is a lot cheaper per year than building a parking space and having to maintain it, particularly if it's in a parking deck. So we are ready to go. This is a live web page that you're looking at. Very excited about it, and we don't have anybody signed up yet, but I do know we have some folks that were already on board to be the first in line. So we are getting underway. But an exciting time for us. Moving on from that, just to talk briefly about the budget. Our 2024 budget increase is asking for approximately 13.3% increase over last year's budget. I won't go line by line because I know Joanne has already done that. But this is what we will need to meet our projected spending for the year next year. Our largest line items obviously are labor, followed by fuel, and we did, in my first year, we did have an increase in our operating cost with increased operators' wages. We increased our training wage, and we reduced the amount of time it took to get to top wage. We didn't increase our top wage. We didn't give anybody any more money, but we did, you can get there in 1 year instead of 5 years. That helped us be competitive with other CDL agencies that hire folks with CDLs in the area, and has really alleviated some of the problems that we've had with hiring operators. Our next challenge, in case you were wondering, is mechanics. So finding a qualified diesel mechanic is a pain that Tony and I share. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions anybody has, specific about the budget or talk on anything in particular about City Bus, but I thank you for the opportunity to speak, and am available tonight or anytime, really, to answer any questions that you might have. At one more detail, I mentioned this to Ms. Chosnick. We don't currently offer city van outside of Tippecanoe County. State law does allow us to partner with other counties and provide the service in those counties. We have applied for an Eli Lilly grant with Purdue to provide vans in each of their extension offices in each of the surrounding counties. We don't know if we've gotten that yet or not, but I have asked our board council to work with Ms. Chosnick to develop the resolution that I'll need to bring before you and before the surrounding county councils to get permission to have the vehicle enter and leave their counties. No additional taxes for them, no additional taxes for you, all covered by the grant that we've already allocated for this. Just the ability to follow state law and partner with surrounding counties so that we can bring people in to work, or if there's folks that live here, that they can get to where they need to work.
Thank you, sir.
So I'll be in front of you again, I guess, is the warning.
Comments or questions from council members?
I have a question for Brian. Oh, somebody. Okay, what percentage of your vehicles now are diesel? What percentage are CNG, and what percentage are electric?
I'll talk specifically about the motor bus fleet. We have 60 buses in our motor bus fleet, and more than 50%, so I think about 35, are compressed natural gas. Okay. The remaining are either diesel or diesel hybrid buses, and we don't currently have any electric buses. We did get a grant for $7.5 million that will help us purchase the first hydrogen fuel cell buses in Indiana. We'll are estimating delivery of those in 2025. Okay. And we're going to spend 2024 working through getting the fueling station. We're going to, initially our fueling station will be on a tractor trailer with the fueling station and the hydrogen all being held in that place is mobile. We didn't want to put the investment in the ground, and our current location, we're pretty site constrained. So we're bringing in this mobile station to fuel. We have an agreement already with Linde Gas to provide the hydrogen, and they'll be trucking it in from East Chicago. And those, in addition to getting the hydrogen fuel cell buses in that grant, we also have almost $1 million in workforce development for our own workforce. And part of that was to buy a training hydrogen fuel cell so that our mechanics can take it apart and see what it looks like inside and understand it. But even more so, since we're the first in Indiana to have this, I want us to be the place that people come to look at. And I've heard that there might be a university with an engineering program that, you know,
Maybe in the same county?
yeah, that could possibly want to bring over students, have them look at it, and frankly, improve it, you know, and try to make it even better. So I'm really proud of the fact that we got that grant, and are looking forward to implementing that over the next year and a half.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so the diesel hybrids, or do they run off the power from the wind turbines you have, or are those just supply power to your shop now?
So they provide power to the shop. They actually send it back directly into the grid, and we get a credit for it.
Okay.
The hybrid diesels, very similar to like a standard diesel or hybrid vehicle. It has onboard batteries, the engine charges the batteries, and then they run the wheel, so it pulls its power from the diesel engine.
Just curious. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any public comment over this ordinance this evening? Madam Clerk, would you please conduct a roll call vote?
Blinker.
Aye.
Nargi. Aye. Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next ordinance for second reading is ordinance 2023-45.
The 2024 budget ordinance and ordinance appropriating money for the purpose of defraying the expenses of several departments of the city government of the city of Lafayette, Indiana for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2024 and ending December 31st, 2024, including the outstanding claims and obligations and fixing a time when the same shall take effect.
Mr. Reynolds?
I move to hear ordinance 2023-45
Discussion,
on
please.
final reading.
Second.
Good evening, Jeremy Deal, City Controller. The budget introduced to you and advertised earlier this month totaled $89,230,891. I sent you a little narrative describing that some changes would be made. We ended up trimming that budget by $177,110. The new proposed final budget for adoption is $89,053,781. That's approximately a 7% increase over the current year budget. The modifications that we made were, for the most part, insignificant. I have formulas that kind of took some updated year-to-date information, recalculated an anticipated amount needed for next year. And I was reluctant to make many changes, but I did make some where I thought they were necessary. I will also point out there was some modifications to the engineering personal services budget. I found a small oversight on my own part, needed to add a few $1,000s there to account for a step rate increase that I'd overlooked on my first calculation. Made that modification. I did also remove some capital outlay requested budget from animal control. That was a $50,000 amount, request for a new pickup truck. I think we can address that request by other means, another fund, and we might even accomplish that yet this year. I'm working with the fleet department on that. And likewise, we made a modification to the capital outlay request from the street department in the motor vehicle fund. So that was reduced. All in all, the total reductions were, like I said, 177,000. To just recap the general budget again, we're looking at a 5% increase for most civilian employees, 8% for public safety. I expect a reduced required budget for natural gas next year. We're in a much better state in terms of volatility of that commodity. Those budgets, though not a major portion of the overall city budget, will be reduced by 20 to 25%. I expected electric utility rates to be pretty flat, although we have expanded some facilities, so our actual demand for service will be a little bit higher. So those budgets may have increased just slightly. Fuel, gas, and diesel, still, we're at an inflated price relative to, recent history. The prices have not been as volatile this year, but they are still increasing at a gradual rate. So we've upped those budgets in most cases just a bit. Health insurance, we expect a 5% increase. That is built into the budget with assumptions on what employees will elect in terms of their coverage and the plan selected. So those budgets have proven to be, for the most part, adequate. They haven't changed a lot, except in some of the smaller departments, maybe. The mayor mentioned at the first reading, we plan to introduce a health clinic for all employees who choose to elect health coverage through the city. So I'm looking forward to that, as are a number of our employees. That constitutes most of the significant changes. We added 4 positions. 1 park maintenance tech, a facilities general maintenance position, a systems administrator, an IT, and a traffic technician for the traffic department. So that will conclude my summary, and I'd be happy to entertain any detailed questions about the budget or changes made.
Yeah, Jeremy, I don't know if you've had a chance yet. I don't remember how long the other building has been fully occupied over there. Have you had a chance to figure out what the savings are with the panels there as opposed to, for instance, this building or anything? Have you gotten any indication as to what you're going to save on that?
It took a while to transfer all of the
Right.
utility accounts, where we just have a couple of months of operations under
Yeah.
that. I have inspected some real-time data with the facilities director. Jason Pierce took me over and looked at that draw earlier this summer. At that point, we looked at the electric usage, instantaneous electric usage here in City Hall. Then we walked over and looked at the electric main over at the new Public Safety Center. That building was drawing half as much energy as City Hall, even though it's roughly twice as big.
Right.
So the solar panels are having a dramatic impact. We haven't got enough data to analyze to give a real estimate of what that's going to do for us in the long term, but I know it's contributing to our
I knew it was in
efficiency
the
for
early
sure.
stages, but we found a significant when I was at Lum. So that's the reason I was asking you if you did have any kind of an indication yet. But
I
that's,
know it's helping.
it is.
I'd like to compile utility data and have be able to analyze that on a more regular basis, and yeah, well,
Be very interested. And you feel comfortable with what we have here as far as the budget is concerned? Obviously, or you wouldn't have brought it, but you have any major concerns if there's any kind of a emergency or?
I think we have adequate reserves. If there were an emergency, if we needed an additional appropriation, I'm confident that the mayor and I could come to you and ask to address a financial situation with the available reserves we have. So I hope that would never happen, but yes, we're in pretty good shape. My only, it's not really a concern, it's the legislated cap on tax levy growth for the next 2 years. So we'll deal with that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Other comments or questions from council? Thank you, Mr. Deal.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
very much.
Any public comment over this ordinance? Madam Clerk, would you please conduct the roll?
Yeah, an amendment. Yeah, we have the
Oh, we have
amendment.
to amend. I'm sorry, I didn't even think about that. So we need to vote on the amendment, and and then we will vote on the ordinance as amended. So I will entertain a motion for the amendment. Mr. Brown?
So moved.
Mrs. Williamson? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and now we will vote on the, do we put it on the floor again?
No.
Okay. So we will now vote on the amended ordinance 2023-45.
Blinker,
Aye.
Nargi. Aye. Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Williamson. Aye. Downing.
Aye.
Amendment ordinance passes 7-0.
Thank you. I know. On to ordinance 2023-46.
An ordinance fixing the salaries of appointed officers and employees of the city of Lafayette, Indiana for the year 2024, excluding the sworn protective occupation and law enforcement members of the police and fire departments.
Mr. Downing?
I move to hear ordinance 2023-46.
Mr. Klinker?
Second.
All righty. Is anybody speaking to that?
Which one's this?
46, the salary ordinance.
Go ahead, Jeremy. I'm sorry, I did get a phone call. Did we vote on the amended ordinance and the ordinance both?
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
took a roll call for the amendment.
We voted on the,
To amend the ordinance.
to amend the ordinance, and then we voted on the amended ordinance.
Okay, so we did take two votes on it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Or, yeah, sorry.
We're good.
Yeah, we're
Always-
good. We're good.
Good evening. This is the salary ordinance for non-public safety officers. The mayor has graciously awarded a 5% increase across the grid for all of our full-time employees. In addition, as I mentioned before, we did have a handful of small class reclassifications and 4 additional full-time positions added for the 2024 budget year.
You didn't drop any, I'm assuming, right?
We did not
Okay.
drop any, no.
It's okay.
Thank you, Mr. Deal. Comments or questions from council on this ordinance? Comments or questions from the audience on this ordinance? All right, this one does not have to be amended, so we will have a roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Blinker.
Aye.
Nargi. Aye. Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
Okay, now we're on to ordinance 2023-47.
An ordinance fixing the salaries of the sworn protective occupation and law enforcement poll members of the police and fire departments of the city of Lafayette, Indiana for the year 2024.
Mrs. Nargi,
I move we hear ordinance 2023-47.
Mr. Reynolds,
Second.
thank you.
Good evening. This ordinance is to establish compensation for our sworn public safety officers. As with the civilian employees, the mayor has recognized the importance of attracting and retaining quality people to the positions in the city of Lafayette, and the public safety officers for 2024 budget year will receive an 8% raise. That increment was applied across the grid. And as well, we had a modification to the longevity plan, compensation plan for 2024. It has been simplified just a bit. We had a more involved incremental plan for this year, and it's being simplified to start at 10 years of service with an increment at 15 years and another at 20, and that is that. So I think the specialty categories for both police and fire have remained unchanged. So, and this ordinance is being presented also without amendment from the advertised version.
Thank you, Mr.
I request your approval.
Comments or questions from council?
I just don't want there to be any mistake about me questioning you about new personnel or old personnel or anybody. The employees of the city of Lafayette just do a tremendous job, both sworn and in our regular department. So I commend them for that and are due everything that they can get.
Well, appreciate that. I tend to agree with you, I think.
As one, huh?
Thank you, Mr. Deal. Madam Clerk does have some public comment to
I
read into the
do.
record.
I received 5 letters, emails, and 3 of them are identical, so I'm only going to read one of them, and I will give you their names of each one of the citizens that submitted it. Dear City Clerk Murray, I'm submitting the public comment ahead of the public meeting for the proposed 2024 city budget. While I'm unable to attend the meeting on Thursday, I wanted to share my concern with the proposed 8% raise for the police as out of line in ordinance 2023-47 that is up for second reading. The main justification provided for this raise being higher than other civilian city employees is to make police positions more competitive. Mayor Wazorski has also previewed that he's expected something similar next budget cycle. This continues a worrisome trend I've seen in our community. The idea that funding police more and more will keep our community safe. Since October of '22, there have been no less than 7 ordinances passed by the city council that have provided more appropriations to LPD for bunker gear and handheld radios, new positions, both sworn and civilian, and even at an increased salary bump beyond the negotiated contract rate. Where does it end? Community members have advocated to the city council to focus on community needs as an affordable housing and access to mental health resources, and have been met with dismissiveness regarding the city's ability to help and dog whistles over concerns about the right type of neighbor. There are other ways to make this city and its citizens safe and prosperous beyond increased police presence. We know the people of the color, poor folks, and individuals with disabilities and mental health concerns are disproportionately impacted by policing and criminalization. Until we start addressing the root causes that perpetrate harm in this community, no amount of funding that the police will get us closer to the safe communities we are seeking. I implore the city council to reconsider the trend of continually increasing funding for police from Wabash to Fairfield Townships. All of our neighbors in Greater Lafayette deserve to live in a safe resource communities that meet their actual needs. This letter was from Nicole McCabe of 1514 Adams Street in Lafayette. And another one was from TJ Rosa, 103 South 4th, Lafayette. And the third one was from Bailey Rosa, 1108 South 3rd Street in Lafayette. Those are the 3 that are all identical. And the 4th one is, Dear City Clerk Murray, I wish to submit this public comment before the public hearing for the proposed 2024 city budget because I'll be unable to attend the meeting since I'm out of town this week. I want to share my deep concern with the proposed 8% raise for police as outlined in ordinance 2023-47, which is ready for second reading. The main justification provided for this raise being higher than other civilian city employees to make police positions more competitive. In addition, Mayor Wazorski suggested he expected something similar next budget cycle. This continues a worrisome trend I have noticed in our community, which is that funding police more and more will keep our community safe. I would not like to see more police hired until our present officers have a clear code that they must stop to act. They must act to stop any fellow officer who uses any sort of force that isn't necessary, and especially when it harms a suspect. I am especially concerned about past use of dogs when it was clearly out of place. I know this happening to 2 black women. Police records are not simple to find, and believe Lafayette citizens paid for the court cases brought against these instances of mistreatment. The ranking officer involved in both cases was promoted and is still likely working. We need to know what has been done to be certain such police actions don't ever happen again in Lafayette. What has changed in the force's expectation of officers' behavior to assure that it won't? Community members have asked the city council to focus on community needs such as affordable housing and access to mental health resources. These requests have been met with dismissiveness regarding the city's ability to help and with dog whistles over concerns about the right type of neighbors. There are other ways to make the city and citizens safe and prosperous beyond increased police presence. We know that people of color, poor folks, and individuals with disabilities and mental health concerns are disproportionately impacted by policing and criminalization. Some cities have been successful in reducing phone calls and meeting citizen needs by having social workers to go out to work with calls officers encounter when the need is not for police, but to find the proper resources to resolve the problem. Has Lafayette considered hiring social workers attached to the police department to send out to families when police discover a need beyond their training? Until we start addressing the root causes that perpetrate harm in this community, no amount of funding the police will get us closer to safe communities we are seeking. I implore the city council to reconsider the trend of continually increasing funding for police. From Wabash to Fairfield Townships, all of our neighbors in Greater Lafayette deserve to live in a safe resource communities that actually meet their needs. This is from Adelia Sorge, and the address is 3316 Indian Rock Lane, West Lafayette. And the last one is, Dear City Clerk Murray, I'm submitting this public comment ahead of the hearing for the proposed 2024 city budget. While I'm unable to attend the meeting this Thursday evening, I wanted to share with you my exact disappointment with the proposed 8% raise for police as outlined in ordinance 2023-47. It is my understanding that this is up for second reading, and there has been previous concern shared before the first reading. I am writing today to again express my frustration and disappointment that these costs continue to be considered despite public concern. The main justification provided for this raise is to make police positions more competitive. Mayor Osorski also previewed that he expected something similar next budget cycle. This continues to be a completely unnecessary trend, and I have seen in our community spending. The idea that funding more police will keep our community safe is just untrue. Since October 22, there have been no less than 7 ordinances passed by the City Council that have provided more appropriations to LPD for bunker gear, handheld radios, new positions, both sworn and civilian, and even an increased salary bump beyond the negotiated contract price. Where do our resources end? Committee members have advocated to the City Council to focus on community needs such as affordable housing and access to mental health resources that have been met with dismissiveness regarding the city's ability to help. There are other ways to make this city, as well as other citizens, safe and prosperous beyond increased police presence. We know that the people of color, poor folks, and individuals with disabilities and mental health concerns are disproportionately impacted by policing or criminalization. Until we start addressing the root causes that perpetrate harm in our community, no amount of funding, the police will get us closer to the safe communities we are seeking. I'm asking the City Council to please reconsider the trend of continually increasing funding to police. From Wabash to Fairfield Townships, all of our neighbors in Greater Lafayette deserve to live in a safe resource community that meet their actual needs. Thank you for your consideration. This is from Devin D. Both, B-O-T-H, 511 Portridge Commons. And that's what I received.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any other public comment this evening? Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please conduct a roll call vote on ordinance 2023-47?
Clinker?
Aye.
Nargi?
Aye.
Reynolds?
Aye.
Weiss?
Resounding aye.
Okay. Brown?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downing?
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
And our final ordinance this evening, ordinance 2023-48.
An ordinance fixing the salaries of elected officials of the City of Lafayette, Indiana for the year 2024.
Ms. Hesham Weiss?
I move for consideration of ordinance 2023-48 on second and final reading.
Mr. Brown?
Second.
Good evening once again. Jeremy Deal, City Controller. This final ordinance of the evening establishes compensation for our elected officials, including our city council, our elected clerk, and our mayor. So we've stressed the importance of having good people, attracting, retaining good people. That holds true from the bottom all the way to the top. So now we're at the top. The Common Council is proposed a 5% raise commensurate with all the civilian employees. We have some slight change with the city clerk with a reclassification to the Exec 2 department head level. Well-deserved. And with our mayor, we are recommending an 8% raise commensurate with the public safety sworn officers rate at 8%. Again, I know of no other elected official who works as hard as our mayor and has accomplished as much in recent years. This is well-deserved, and although it falls short perhaps of some of the recommended compensation levels submitted by council members, it is I think a adequate reward, and I hope the mayor is happy with that. I hope you all are as well satisfied with the levels of compensation proposed in this ordinance. I ask for your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Deal. Comments or questions from council?
I'd just like to state that I agree with you, Mr. Deal. That's, this mayor and this clerk are unbelievable in what they do for the city of Lafayette. And I know that we have the Christmas parade coming up, of which the city clerk is going to be heavily involved. And she does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And having had that position, I know it's a thankless position, and I know how much the mayor relies on her wisdom, counsel, and assistance in this position. I have a much more renewed respect for the council after this first year too as well. So I want to thank the mayor and city clerk particularly, who are well deserved of this particular raise.
Yep, we have an amazing leadership in the city.
Yep.
Thank
Third
you.
and fourth, fifth, sixth.
Thank you. Any other public comment this evening? This ordinance.
I'd like to thank Mr. Deal for his hard work
Yeah.
on the budget.
Yes. Thank you.
Pleasure. This is fun stuff.
All right, well, then we'll hold a roll call vote on ordinance 2023-48.
Blinker.
Aye.
Nargi. Aye. Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
No.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 6-1.
That concludes the ordinance portion of the evening. Before we call for public comment, I did want to take a minute to recognize one of our outstanding community partners, Subaru of Indiana Automotive. Today, they were inducted into the 2023 Indiana Manufacturers Association Hall of Fame.
Wow.
We know we're very thankful for all that they do for the community, and we're knowing that this honor is well-deserved, so I just wanted to acknowledge their accomplishment.
Should we send a letter from the clerk's office?
Council could send
Oh,
a
yeah.
letter to them.
That's what I was just going to ask, if we could get that drafted.
Did you want to add anything about that, Mr. Mayor?
I would just want to have one quick
Okay.
thing for public comment, but thank you for doing that, and I think we should send a letter and maybe bring it up even at the next actual city council meeting. That's really a big deal for a significant community partner. Thank you for passing the budgets. We appreciate it, appreciate your questions. I did want to just make a couple quick comments on that the bunker gear and the radios were for the fire department. And the other ones, we created 2 civilian CSO positions, not law enforcement positions. We created 2 to help with duties, and the other one was to create 3 CSI positions, all civilian positions, not sworn position. And in this budget and with the money, we are in the process of hiring 2 people with social work backgrounds that will be going out with the police department and running calls with them. So people that have mental health issues, homelessness issues, they will get turned over to people that are doing that, and they won't be going into the criminal justice, if at all possible. Sometimes it's unavoidable. We all, I'm a realist. But we will have 2 people doing it on top of our victim's advocate, Nora Ashcraft, who's worked for us for years. So we'll actually have 3 civilians involved. So actually, there's a lot of types of those things taking place, and some of those ordinances actually were creating civilian positions, not law enforcement positions. So I just think that's probably important to clarify a little bit.
They have a really great setup too in the new safety building for working with those civilian positions and people that need public assistance, so.
And I
that's
might
great.
say that even though we got 5 letters negative, I'm out in the public all of the time, and I can't tell you how many people commending our police department on how professional they are and how courteous they are to people and how grateful the public is at large for what we have here. And they say, please continue to support the police department because they do a tremendous job. So I want that to balance out the 5 letters that we do. We do hear that even though the people don't come to the meetings or write a letter, we do get those comments. I'm assuming the rest of the council probably does as well.
Absolutely.
Well, I have something. This is stroking my fur in the wrong direction because when I hear several letters that come from people that I guess we're to assume that this is a grassroots voicing of an opinion, and they all say the same thing almost verbatim, even to the point where they make the same mistakes as far as what we do here. I'm less concerned with what they are saying as I am with why they are saying it. There's a motivation out there that is under the surface, and I think we need to recognize that when we start to take public opinion into account, because that doesn't sound like public opinion to me. That's manufactured. Somebody handed everybody a letter and said, send us into the city.
Yeah,
Facebook form letter.
I agree.
Any public comment this evening? Mr. Clinker?
Move to adjourn.
Mr. Reynolds? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Okay, I need you guys to sign these forms.
Don't leave until you sign all the
Yes.
forms tonight.
No, I